The Healer Cat. Children's book by Tuula Pere. Summary. Celesse the Healer Cat is a highly respected member of the neighborhood. As the mistress's favorite cat, she spends lazy days in the warmth of the house. One snowy night, a mother hare rushes in, desperate for help. Reluctantly, the healer cat travels with her through a nighttime snowstorm and biting cold winds. In a dark forest, Celesse comes face to face with a scary surprise and is forced to gather her powers for the first time in a while. Pages 2 and 3. Celesse, the cat, couldn't complain. She spent her days lounging on top of the brick oven, enjoying its warmth, and watching as the mistress put sweet buns into bags for freezing. Soon the mistress would serve Celesse a full saucer of creamy milk and allow her to curl up in her lap. Celesse was the only indoor cat of the household, and she enjoyed the special attention thereby bestowed upon her. The barn cats had to settle for much humbler conditions. But Celesse wasn't an ordinary cat. She was a healer cat, widely famed in the neighborhood for her powers. Many humans and animals had been healed by her low purr and her soft paws. Pages 4 and 5. At night, the master and the mistress often lay side by side on the bed, reading the day's papers. The healer cat had the habit of joining them, warming their toes and ankles, or curling up against the mistress's aching back. Celesse put a little more effort into caring for her. After all, the mistress was the one who gave her the best treats. Pages 6 and 7. The brutal snowstorm had lasted for the entire day. As evening drew closer, the cold got more severe. A collection of animals from the neighborhood had come to visit Celesse. They were gathered on the floor of the main room, spending time with the respected healer cat. She lay on top of the warm brick oven. This time, the visitors included the squirrel family, who inhabited a large spruce in the garden, a couple of sparrows, and the house's watchdog, Rex. Celesse's eyes drooped, and a deep purring sound came from her throat. Everyone was resting, enjoying the peaceful evening in the dimly lit room. The mistress was very fond of animals and didn't mind these visits as long as every caller remembered to shake the snow off its fur and wipe its paws clean. At times, the mistress would even serve snacks, placing small cups of oats and water on the floor. Pages 8 and 9. Celesse gazed at the visitors from her half-closed eyes. She knew them all very well. She had, after all, lived in this same farmhouse since the day she was born. She was familiar with her friends' ailments, too. Rex, the old watchdog, had lost most of his strength by now and saved his hoarse barks for just strangers. At times, the healer cat would press her warm paw over Rex's chest, where his loyal heart beat unhurriedly. Feeling this, the dog would take a deep breath and wag his tail. Now Rex was snoring on the rag rug with his head between his paws. The sparrows sat side by side on a ball of yarn, which had been forgotten on the floor. With their feathers fluffed out, they dreamed of warm summer days. Pages 10 and 11. Celesse also knew the ailments of the squirrel family. Last summer, the father squirrel had hurt his front paw. He bruised it while hopping along the stone wall at the side of the garden. The healer cat stroked the sore spot with her silky paw on many a night. The baby squirrels were healthy, though sometimes a bit too energetic. Luckily, they did calm down while listening to the soothing purr of the cat. The mother squirrel was certainly pleased by this. Now, in fact, the mother squirrel was in a blissful half-sleep. She had curled her long and fluffy tail around her babies. A drowsy peace had settled in the room. The animals rested quietly until Bang, bang. A sharp knock on the door woke everyone up. Pages 12 and 13. The door flew open and a snowy mountain hare hopped into the room. With her came a sharp blast of cold air and the faint scent of fir twigs. The other animals stirred, a bit disgruntled by the interruption. "Celesse! You must help me!" The hare panted, out of breath. "Actually, it is my little baby you must help." Celeste gazed at the hare. She too was sorry that her peace had been disturbed. "What's the matter?" she asked. "My baby is lying stricken with a high fever in our burrow in the backwoods," the anxious mother explained. "His nose is burning hot. The wretched child can barely breathe." "Why didn't you bring your baby here?" the healer cat asked. "In this freezing weather, I couldn't even think of taking the little patient across the forest." Celeste was silent. She was warm and comfortable here. She didn't want to leave the cozy house to plunge into the darkness and whirling snow. Pages 14 and 15. The mother hare saw Celeste's hesitation, but she wasn't going to give up that easily. Nothing in the world mattered more to her than the well-being of her little one. "I can take you to the backwoods in the sleigh that I saw in front of the house," the hare suggested. "That will hasten the trip, and you'll stay warm." "The poor baby hare needs care," the other animals chimed in. Slowly, the healer cat got up. She stretched her legs and then leaped down from the brick oven. "Let's set off then," she said. "But you must have a blanket for me on the sleigh." "No problem," the hare said. "Just as I promised, you will be warm." She glanced around the room and then snatched a blanket from the rocking chair. "Let's move. There's no time to waste." Pages 16 and 17. The frosty sleigh waited in front of the porch. The hare wiped the snow from it. Celeste reluctantly hopped on and wrapped the wool blanket around her. Only her nose and quivering whiskers peeked out from the bundle. The hare started on the long journey toward the backwoods. The healer cat was a heavy load for the small creature to pull. The sleigh's runners sank deep into the snow as the animals traveled, and the hare's warm breath steamed in the frosty air. There were moments when the hare felt discouraged and overwhelmed by the task ahead. The drifting snow slowed them down. Every time the mother felt she was on the verge of exhaustion, an image of her baby appeared before her eyes. It was as if the whirling snow had brought a child's voice with it, calling softly, "Mother." The forest grew dark. Tall spruces stretched up, one right next to the other. Soon the hare grew anxious, sensing danger. She dashed under a steep cliff covered with icicles. Pages 18 and 19. From a dark corner, a gray wolf sprang out at them. The wolf looked at the hare with its piercing eyes. The hare looked rather skinny. But what was in that curious bundle on the sleigh? The wolf stepped closer, sniffing the air. "Celeste, get up," the hare urged. "Now!" The cat snorted and flung the blanket off. "What's going on here?" The moon faintly lit up the scene. Celeste blinked calmly as she took in the sight. Although the cat had grown a bit plump and spoiled, her powers were still deep and strong. These powers weren't in her muscles or bones, but somewhere else, much deeper. Boldly, she stepped toward the wolf. Pages 20 and 21. The cat and the wolf stood almost nose to nose. They stared into each other's eyes, frozen. The hare watched the encounter nervously. But Celeste wasn't afraid. Although the wolf had started growling in a hollow voice and showing its horrifying teeth, Celeste stared straight back with her yellow eyes. It was a pair of extraordinary eyes. In the darkness of the forest, they kept widening until they were like two golden lanterns. They emanated such light and warmth that the wind seemed to stop and the air seemed to grow warm. Pages 22 and 23. The hare was astonished. The power of the healer cat was even greater than she'd imagined. Even the fierce wolf seemed to lose its strength before the mighty cat. It stopped growling and its expression softened. For a short while it stood still, and then it lowered its body in submission. Celeste gave a nod in reply. The gray wolf turned and slowly headed back to the darkness. The healer cat turned back to the hare. The cat's eyes were still enlarged and illuminated, her voice softer than usual. "Dear hare, the danger is over. We will leave the sleigh here to hasten our journey," the cat decided. "Show me the shortest way to your burrow, and I will follow you." Pages 24 and 25. At last, the tired pair arrived at the hare's burrow. The mother hare carefully moved aside some branches that covered her burrow and led the healer cat inside. "Mother, is it you?" a tiny voice called. "I was scared, but I knew you would come back." The mother hare hugged her baby. "Why, of course I came back, son," the mother replied. "I brought with me someone who can help you. She's a healer cat." The hare moved aside to let Celeste approach her baby's sickbed. The cat bent down over the little hare and placed her paw lightly on his head. "By the time the morning sun brings light to the forest, you will be feeling much better," the healer cat reassured him. Exhausted, the mother hare dozed on the hay-covered burrow floor. Every once in a while, she opened her eyes slightly to see the healer cat sitting beside her patient and purring softly. It was the first time in ages that the mother hare felt calm enough to sleep through the entire night. Pages 26 and 27. Eventually, even the fiercest of snowstorms subsides. The morning in the backwoods broke bright and sunny. Next to the burrow, on the branches of a tree, a flock of birds chirped cheerfully. The birds were excited about the new day, which was going to be much warmer than the previous one. When a big cat emerged from the burrow, followed by the mother hare, the birds fluttered away. "How can I ever thank you enough?" the hare murmured. "I have nothing of value to give you." "Don't you worry," the healer cat said. "It has been a pleasure to help your precious child. I need no payment." "I can take you home right after I've fed and tucked in my baby," the hare said. "I will find the way back on my own," the cat said. "You are needed here. Just go take care of your baby." Celeste and the hare pressed their front paws together and said goodbye. Then the healer cat set off on the return journey through the woods. Pages 28 and 29. The sun threw its light upon the forest, which didn't seem at all scary now. Celeste followed the tracks from the previous night, the ones that the snow hadn't covered. At last she reached the sleigh. Near the spruce tree, she could still make out some tracks left by the wolf, its circle around the tree, and then its retreat into the forest. But the wolf itself was long gone. Its solitary journey continued in other forests and in bolder fields. Pages 30 and 31. Celeste turned her gaze to the sun and raised her face toward the light. Her whiskers quivered delicately, and she was filled with relief and peace. She'd almost forgotten how good it felt to heal someone. In the hare's burrow, Celeste had also felt the immensity of love. The mother and her baby had been so happy together, Celesse's own heart was warmed. The healer cat hoped to keep this warmth as a memory of this unusual trip. Pages 32 and 33. Celeste spotted the wool blanket which the wind had blown away. It was now wrapped around the icicles that hung over the sunny face of the cliff. The cat climbed up to get the blanket. She knew the mistress would miss it at home. The healer cat was now ready to head home. Once more she turned to glance at the icy cliff, shining in the morning light. Spring was still a long way away, but the sun was stronger than ice. At the tip of every icicle there glimmered a drop of water, like a tear of joy. Content, Celeste turned the sleigh toward home. You have listened, The Healer Cat, a children's book by Dr. Tuula Pere, published by Wickwick, read aloud by Jessica, Virtual Voices of Wickwick Labs.